If you're trying to build discipline by relying on motivation or willpower, then you're doing it wrong. I did this for years and it just left me stuck, inconsistent and frustrated. I couldn't stay consistent with any goal that I set myself, and I would constantly fall off the bandwagon and just end up back at square one where I started. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to build discipline so you're more productive, focused, and you can actually achieve the things that you set out to achieve. After 5 years of being inconsistent with my own goals, just like I said before, constantly falling off the bandwagon, relying on motivation, and then having these dips of motivation, meaning that I abandoned all my goals, I got sick of it and I devoted myself to learning about habits, behavior change. I read every book under the sun in every area just like that. And after a while, I was able to develop a actual clear strategy for developing discipline, becoming consistent, and achieving any goal I set out to achieve. I was able to use this framework, if you like, to become a business owner, an engineer, and an athlete who can actually stick to things when he says he's going to. And since changing my own life, I've actually been able to teach this framework to over 500 people who have gone from procrastinating and inconsistent to becoming a disciplined action taker who can achieve anything they set out to. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear plan to become disciplined and consistent without having to rely on motivation or willpower at all. You'll be able to build lasting habits that actually support you in achieving your goals. So without further ado, I want to talk about why motivation and willpower are literally keeping you trapped. Motivation and willpower are literally feelings or emotions. They're inconsistent, and relying just upon them guarantees inconsistency. We all know what it's like when maybe at the start of the week, your motivation is sky high and everything's going well. You're going to the gym, you're feeling productive, but then it only takes a couple of bad days and you've fallen right off the bandwagon and you're back to where you started, wondering where it all went wrong. Back when I was struggling with bad habits and trying to stay consistent but I couldn't get anywhere, I would only do things when I felt like it because I thought that I had to wait for motivation to come before I could take action, when in reality, the opposite's true. Action actually encourages motivation. When I first started working with my client, Michael, he was struggling to stay consistent with the gym because, like me, he was waiting to feel like it until he went. He had this idea that he wanted to get in shape, but he didn't have any clear plan to actually get there. Instead of relying on motivation, we worked together in the first few weeks to build a strong plan to actually put the habits in place, set up his environment, and develop a clear structure. So we actually had a plan for his workouts and when he would do them, rather than just waiting until he felt like it. We built a strong daily routine into his life, and now he shows up no matter what, and it's just like clockwork for him. A lot of people fall down because they don't set themselves specific enough goals. Vague goals equal vague results. So if you're just telling yourself like, I want to get in shape, then you're kind of already setting yourself up for failure, because what does getting in shape look like? Does that mean going to the gym? Does that mean working on your cardio? The more specific your goals are, the more clear you set that intention to yourself, what you have to work towards. So for example, instead of saying, I want to get in shape, can you set yourself a super specific goal like, I want to be able to run a 5K in under 20 minutes by a certain date, by the end of the year. Just in one specific goal there, you've gone from vague to clear in what it is you actually want to achieve. Because if your goals are far too vague, then you're not going to take action because you won't know what that action actually looks like. But just by setting a more specific goal, you know what you're aiming for and you know how to measure your progress. Once you have your specific goals, they actually won't mean anything unless you turn them into repeatable daily or weekly actions or habits that you can actually take to get there. Having a goal but not breaking it down into the steps that's needed is just so counterintuitive, and that's a big reason why people procrastinate or just fall off the bandwagon completely. So for example, take any goal that you have right now, set yourself a specific goal, and then tell yourself, how can I break that down into daily or weekly habits or actions that can actually ensure my consistent progress towards the goal? So what I mean by that is, let's say that you want to run a 5K in under 20 minutes. What would your weekly or daily habits look like? Would you want to run twice a week? Which days would you actually do it on? How far would you run? Get super specific with the weekly and daily actions that you're going to take. Just think to yourself, what can I do on this day or this week that can take me closer to the result? Once you've got these daily or weekly actions to actually take to ensure that you make progress, the next step is to fit them into your routine and then set up your environment to succeed. Unfortunately, if these habits or actions don't fit into your life, then they won't last. The key is to find an existing place in your routine that you can put them so that you can carry on with them easily with no conflict or friction, and before long they'll just become a natural part of your routine. So for example, me personally, I work out in the gym before work because this just is a natural place for it in my routine. I drive past the gym on the way to work, and I know that if I wait until I go after work, then I won't want to go. My motivation is at the highest in the morning, so that works for me in my routine. For your goals, you might need to find a specific time or place in your week or day that you can actually do these habits. So when you get in from work, you might find that instead of doom scrolling on the sofa or watching Netflix, you could dedicate an hour to your goal. Let's say that that's working on an online business. That hour after you get in might just feel like an extension of your work day. So that might be the best place for you and your routine. And once you've found the place in your routine, setting up your environment is absolutely key. So what I mean by that is making small tweaks or changes to your environment that act as almost mental cues to carry out your habit or action. So for example, for myself, I like to pack my gym bag the night before work and then place it by the door ready. So in the morning I wake up, I see my packed gym bag, it's all ready for me to go, and it acts as like a visual cue to almost enable me to do the habit autonomously. Another example might be setting out your journal on your pillow on your bed so it's ready to do before bed, or laying out your running shoes at the end of your bed. Simple tweaks to your environment like this can be the difference between abandoning your goals or doing them consistently. So make sure you have at least one environment tweak in there that's going to help you. Motivation dips, willpower fades, but systems guarantee that you can actually make consistent progress towards the person you want to become. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as a little treat for you, I've actually made a free Seize the Day cheat sheet, which is a little cheat sheet that I made so you can guarantee a productive day tomorrow. You can use it for 5 minutes before you go to bed and make a full plan for your day tomorrow so that you can hit the ground running when you wake up and take consistent action towards your goals. I'll leave a link to that in the description, so go grab your free copy, subscribe to my channel because I'll be uploading every single week, and hopefully I'll see you again next time.